Welcome back, Flyers fans. We're getting started with our next episode of the Florida Flyer. Here to talk about some positivity, actually. I've gathered that some of the stuff I've been saying, a little negative, especially about certain players continuously. So we're going to change that up this time. I would like to start by talking, you're going to not believe me after I say this, but I want to start by talking about Andrew McDonald. It came out today that he's going to have a 4 to 6 week injury. He's going to be sidelined for a little bit. But I think he played his best game in Edmonton. I think the game against Edmonton was by far and wide his best game overall. And I give him nothing but credit for staying out on the ice with what I'm assuming is a broken bone in his foot, knee, leg area. So for him to be able to do that and continue and not try and skate over to the bench, nothing but heart and grit, and that's just what real hockey players are made of. And I give him nothing but credit. No disrespect to him whatsoever this time. So, questions: does that bring in Sam Morin? Sam Morin coming up. They've announced the D pairs for the game against Anaheim tomorrow or today, if this drops on Tuesday like I want it to. And so far, no move has been made to call in Sam Morin, but we'll see what happens. I'm not 100% certain that this is going to be the lineup they take going forward. I think it could be Sam Morin's break, the one that he wanted in training camp and the one that we all wanted as fans. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, I think his best game of the season, Andrew McDonald's, was in Edmonton. Hell of a lot of heart. Brandon Manning will be in against Anaheim. The D pairs that they skated with today were Provorov and Haig, Ghost and Gudis, which is a pair that I love and adore. I would have preferred if Gudis jumped to the top line, just because him and Provorov have some experience together, and because that Ghost Hag pair was, I think, our best defensive pair so far this season. Ghost is, for whatever reason, more defensively sound this year than I think he was last year and the year prior. And then Manning and Sanheim, which little thunder and lightning, I think, is what they're going for there. As I said earlier in the season, I think that Morin would also work on that pairing just because they played together all last year in the Phantoms. And again, it's that thunder and lightning. It's that 6'7" body. He's huge, and Sanheim's 6'4", so it's not like they haven't played together and they're not familiar with each other. So, excuse me. One of the things that we're going to be talking about that is very, very kind of negative, but something that happened because I am the Florida Flyer. I live in Orlando, Florida. I sometimes have to listen to games. Like, I watch it on my phone, and then I'll go into my car and I'll put it on the radio and I'll listen to Coetzee and that other guy. Can't think of his name at the moment, but Coetzee made a comment the other day against, I believe it was the Panthers, when we were playing the Panthers, that Sanheim should be sitting in the box, that it's a learning experience for him, and that it only helped Shane Gostisbehere and Travis Konecny last year. Well, I overwhelmingly disagree with Steve Coates on this. I know that Coetzee's got like a cult following. A lot of older fans really respect what he has to say about the game, and they like him because he's been around forever and he can like eat more hot dogs than anyone ever or something. I don't know. But I supremely disagree with Mr. Coates on this subject. And just to try and back up what I'm saying, I'm going to say that Simon Gagne, his rookie year, played 80 games. Michael Renberg played 83 of 84 games his rookie year. Claude Giroux and Ghost were both call-ups midway through and played their entire rookie year, because the rule used to be if you played 41 or 42 games your rookie year, you couldn't be a rookie the next year. They both hit that cap. They were never sent to the press box to watch anything. Couturier played 77 games due to injury. Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, Aaron Ekblad, Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, Patrick Kane, Evgeny Malkin, all playing games, a lot of games, their rookie year, and not being sent to the press box to watch. I think that that's an invalid statement. I think that it's fairly asinine to say that, because it depends on the rookie. Ivan Provorov didn't miss a game last year, and he was our number one defenseman about 20 games into the season. He was the best defenseman we had as we're running out Michael Del Zotto's, Nick Schultz, those guys of the world, and now this year it's supposedly really okay for, last year Konechty in his second year Gostisbehere. I don't agree. I disagree with that statement. I think it all depends on the rookie, and I think Travis Sanheim, the more confidence he has, the better game he plays. Maybe sitting in the box did help him, because I feel like personally Nashville was his best game so far this season, but I didn't see any regression in Edmonton. He wasn't afraid to go out there. He didn't play great. He didn't blow the doors off, but I think Nashville was his best game, and maybe sitting helped that. Maybe it didn't. We're not ones to judge, but I disagree with that statement wholeheartedly, because I don't think sitting 2 games last year made Travis Konechty a better player. I think Travis Konechty wanting to be a better player this offseason made him a better player. I think him knowing the grind and the rigors of an NHL season is what made him a better player. I think Shane Gostisbehere last year was hurt, and I think he was trying to mask injuries with trying to do what he used to be able to do on a hip that wasn't healed all the way. So I disagree with that statement a lot. He said it, and I was very heated in the moment that he did, because it's not a good thing to say when there's so many other things that point to the opposite direction. You're going to tell me Connor McDavid should have sat out a couple games in his rookie year. You're going to tell me Austin Matthews, the first game of his rookie year, he scored 4 goals. 4. You're going to tell me that guy, Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, guys that have taken the league by storm basically from game number 1. All these guys, some of them missed games, some of them missed 1 or 2 games here and there and whatnot, and it wasn't to sit in the press box. It was because of injury. Couturier missed games because of injury. Malkin missed games because of injury. I don't know how Renberg played 83 of 84 or 85 games. Doesn't make sense to me, but that was in 1994, and I was only 3 years old. So, Coatsy, I strongly disagree with that. I think the thing that's so frustrating about it, and the reason I keep harping on the Weises and the McDonalds and the Mannings of the world, is because this regime, this group of individuals have said, Ron Hextall's told us from day one, the kids will get called up when they're ready. When they're ready, they're going to play. They're not going to sit. They're not going to hang out. None of that's happening. They are going to play. And that's not what's happening. The Sanheim sent to the box, him and Brandon Manning should not have played the same amount of games so far this season. You know what Brandon Manning is. You do not know what Travis Sanheim can bring to a game. He's an X factor that people don't have a book on. Brandon Manning's not going to score 10 goals this year. It's just not going to happen. He can play 20 extra games. He's not going to score 10 goals. It's just not a thing. Travis Sanheim could. Travis Sanheim could run the second power play unit and make it scary. So that's just my feeling about it. I would love to hear your guys' opinion, how you're thinking about it. Please like, comment, subscribe, text me. I don't know. Just let me know make sure that I'm not completely off base. Coatsy said that and it upset me. So moving away from the badness and the sadness, I want to start talking about some of the positives so far for this team. The Sean Couturiers of the world, who's putting the puck in the net. He's finishing better than I ever thought he could. To be fair, my expectations are slightly more temperamental, just because he is also playing with the 2 best playmakers maybe on the team. And Giroux has shown that he's back from whatever was ailing him last year or whatever was in his head last year. He's back. He's got 10 points. He's tied with Crosby for points in the NHL right now, and Crosby has a game over him. So I'm excited to see what happens in Anaheim. But he has to finish. He has to finish or he's not on that line anymore, and I feel like he knows that. So, but more power to him. He's doing it. He's making some sick moves. His move to beat Luongo against the Panthers was insane, and props to Roberto Luongo. He kept them in that game longer than they should have been. So he made some saves that he probably shouldn't have, and that game was far more respectable because of him. If there was anyone else in there, I'm not sure that those saves get made, but props to Luongo. I'd like to start talking about the captain, talk about G first. He's now 4th all time in assists, and he's chasing Bobby Clark, Bill Barber, Brian Propp, like legendary flyers. He won't catch Clark. He will not catch Clarky. 800 and some odd assists is obnoxious. It's so many, but the fact that he's now top 4 with those guys, I feel like everyone jumped on the bandwagon last year to trade him, and they were super upset because he was having a down year, and everybody wanted to get rid of him, when I mean, guys, we have to understand, we have to focus. Claude Giroux is probably one of the best flyers that this team has ever had. Just from a skill standpoint, from a stamina standpoint, the guy doesn't miss games. He plays with broken wrists. He's got the shift against Crosby in the playoffs. Like, Peter Laviolette called him the greatest player in the world and didn't even flinch, because I think at the time he was the greatest two-way player in the world. I don't think he was better than scoring goals than Vladimir Tarasenko or maybe Evgeny Malkin, but as far as two-way play goes and playing through things and playing gritty and playing smart and good hockey, I don't think at that moment in time Claude Giroux was worse than anyone else in the world. I think he was the best guy. He's also 10th all-time in points, and there's obviously some big names in Flyer lore there. He's 25th in the last 3 seasons in the NHL in points. Now, 25th sounds like a lot, but when you break down the fact that there's 30 teams over the last 3 years, that's less than one player per team that has more points than him. And you also factor in that last year was a down year for him, and he didn't hit his career averages. He had career lows in most everything other than his rookie season and the lockout year. You got to respect the fact that the guy was 5 points away from Evgeny Malkin. Evgeny Malkin has 140 points over the last 3 seasons. Claude Giroux has 135. There's got to be a respect factor there, and you have, like I said, we have to open our eyes and understand Claude Giroux is one of the best Flyers that we've had in modern day hockey. I'm going to put him up there with the Eric Lindrosses of the world, and the Mark Recchi's and Eric Desjardins. And I know Desjardins played defense, but he just brings the same kind of style, the same kind of flair, and he's a leader through and through. Robert Haig, super impressed with Haig so far. He looks mature beyond his years. They hit the nail on the head with this one. His first year in the AHL, they said, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. The second year was a down year. He got benched a couple times, healthy scratched and all that stuff. And he came in last year and he played like he had something to lose. And he did. And he's been on this team, and there's no reason that he shouldn't be. He has been one of the best defensemen night in, night out. And he's been upset that some of the games he hasn't felt like he's performed the way he should have. And Rob, I'm going to tell you straight up, you've been playing fantastic. He's very sound in the defensive zone. He makes the smart play. He's sneaky quick. I think against the Panthers, he blocked a shot. I think he blocked a shot or had a hit, and then he skated back, got in a position, and then blocked a shot and got the clear. Like, Robert Haig is mature beyond his years, and I think that he's being rewarded to play with Ivan Provorov first line minutes. I'm excited to see that pair shut people down, and then hopefully Ghost and Gudas can do the same thing. Speaking of Ghost, he's been more defensively sound this season. He's got that explosiveness back, and I know that he's only got 1 goal, but I think it's telling that goal is a wrist shot. It was not a ghost bomb. He didn't wind up from the point and just let it rip, and that's created chances. It's gotten assists. It does all that stuff. I don't want him to stop doing that, but he's got more in the arsenal to offer this year than he's had before. He's still skating around people. It's amazing. His ability to skate and evade pressure and create time and space for himself, let alone his teammates, is second to none, at least on this team. It's very Carlson-esque. He takes the puck and everybody operates at his speed, and if you try and come at him, he's going to evade you in some way, shape, or form. Very impressive. Simmer, all I wrote is choo-choo because the Wayne train's in town, and he's on another level this year. He just... The fights, I love the fact that he played with a full face guard, and he is the embodiment of Flyers hockey. You want this guy, he's out there scoring goals, he's banging bodies, he's punching guys in the face. He doesn't take shit from anyone, and that's what you want. That's the new style of NHL. This is what the Enforcer should have been, all those years ago, but it's what it is now. He can throw punches, but he's also going to put 30 pucks in the net. And you have to respect. He kills penalties. He's one of the most maybe athletic people on the ice at all times. Once the guy gets going, he's not going to stop. Super impressive. Ivan Provorov, he's just Ivan Provorov. He's very steady. He never gets flustered. I've seen him flub a few more pucks this year than maybe last year. I don't know if that's bad ice. Maybe he's got a weird tape job. I don't know. But he never looks flustered. He's very Chemo Timonen in that way where Chemo never looked out of place. He never looked like he was in a position where he was uncomfortable. And Provorov has those same instincts and that same kind of philosophy towards the game. To me, to my eye, I see a lot of comparisons to them. I think Provorov's bigger. I think he's faster, stronger, has a better shot, all that stuff. But he carries himself in a very calm way, in the same way that Chemo did, and he would quiet that back line, and he would help make Braden Coburn the best defenseman he could be, because he knew that, hey, I got you. I'm here. And I think, again, that's part of the reason McDonald plays with Provorov, even though we all claim, McDonald brings Provorov down. I also believe the other end of that coin is true. Provorov also brings McDonald up. He brings him to another level, and it's a little more steady because he is so sound defensively. Jordan Wheel, I know he hasn't played the last 2 games. I hope that he's back for Anaheim, because the dude is tenacious. He is puck hungry. He is like a little bulldog, and I can't talk about this guy enough. I think he's been one of our best players as far as the eye test goes throughout the first part of the season. I know he's not racking up points. He's not scoring goals, but the dude is noticeable every time he's on the ice. He's always around the puck. He's always making contact with someone. He's always in a board battle, and 9 times out of 10, he's leaving the board battle with the puck. It's very impressive. He's super strong along the boards. And I made a note, I think line 2, I think that Filppula, Wheel, Simmons line is probably our best line along the boards. They're impossible to take the puck off of between Wheel and Simmons, and that puts Filppula floating around in the slot dot area, and just shots on net, goals. It worked out, Jordan Wheel, he's tenacious. He's strong with and without the puck, defensively sound. And he even set up a pick on Ghost's goal. If you go back and watch Gostisbehere's goal against the Panthers, he continued to drive the net even after Ghost got the puck on his stick, and he took that defenseman with him, which created a lane for Ghost to shoot, and he didn't miss. From the top of the circle with a wrist shot, you shouldn't miss the net, and Ghost didn't. So he's even doing the little things that a lot of people don't notice. Again, if you go back and watch that, you'll definitely see he sets that pick. It's not a pick, but he's in motion, so the defenseman has to respect the fact that he's there, and that gives Ghost that lane. That guy can't step up then, because then Jordan Wheel's by himself one-on-one with a goalie. Michael Neuvirth, he has been super surprising to me. He's bounced back very well, and unfortunately his win-loss total doesn't really say that. It doesn't really show how effective he's been, but he's done everything he can to keep the Flyers in games, and he's done nothing to hurt them. There hasn't been a goal where I was like, should have had that one, Nuvi. Like, no. I think he's played a very sound game. I think that Elliott's getting all the good bounces at this point, because I think Elliott's been the more shaky of the two, and Nuvi's played a solid game. He looks very solid. He's very composed in the net, very calm, and I'm very impressed. I think the wins are going to come for him. I think the wins are going to come for Elliott, and Elliott's going to settle in a little bit. I just think that a lot of stuff is still up in the air for them, and that back line and that defense and stuff. Elliott's getting the wins right now, but Nuvi's numbers are very nice, very good. Super excited to see how this season goes with a fairly decent goaltending tandem, and it's also really cool to see that Steve Mason is basically falling apart in Winnipeg. So he kind of threw a temper tantrum and got out of here, and it's not really working out well for him. Winnipeg doesn't seem to be his cup of tea, but so that's all I really have for the Flyers this week. We're going to talk around the NHL, teams that are up, teams that are down, and some players to watch moving forward. These are all going to be obvious because they're players that are on hot streaks right now and killing it, but I just want to talk about them a little bit. The teams that are up, I have the Devils again. You got to respect them. They're like 3rd or 4th in the league in points. They weren't expected to do diddly this year, and they look dangerous. They look like a fast, young team, very reminiscent of the Toronto and Edmonton of last year. They don't know how to lose, so they're not going to. Toronto's up there. Toronto's doing amazing. The Golden Knights they have 12 points in 7 games, and they're like 3rd or 4th in the league as well. It's amazing that expansion franchise is doing so well to start, and I'm so happy for the league for that, getting more eyes on the league and all that good stuff. I also have the Lightning. Very surprising. They're at the top of the league. Very unexpected, but they're doing very well. I mean, behind Nikita Kucherov and Steven Stamkos, who we'll talk about in a minute, I don't know how you couldn't be at the top of the league. Vasilevsky just needs to not let in 5 goals a game, and they're going to win. The Kings are just ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights, but they've played the same amount of games. They've both played 7 games, which I think is the lowest in the NHL at this time, and they're both at the top of the league. So they have games in hand, and they're still winning games that they're supposed to. 13 points for the Kings, 12 for the Golden Knights. Now some teams that I concerned about, some teams that I'm surprised about. The Canadiens not doing well. I think that them trading PK Subban to Nashville only worked out for Nashville. I think Montreal got the benefit of Shea Weber. I think Shea Weber's still a great defenseman, but his body's going to break down faster than PK's. He plays a more physical game. He's played more minutes in his career. He's older. There's just so much. He's played more hockey. He's played playoff hockey. He was a captain. He played through injuries. He's done all that stuff that PK hasn't to this point because PK's younger than him. I think Nashville stole PK Subban. That's what I'm really getting at, is I think Nashville stole PK, and they should laugh all the way to the Western Conference Finals again this year if they keep playing how they play against Philly. Edmonton still in a funk, not able to shake it. Leon Draisaitl not in the lineup the last few games, concussion-like symptoms. I think once he comes back, that's going to jumpstart their offense, and they will be a very, very dangerous team. That Edmonton team, when the Flyers see them again with Draisaitl, with McDavid, in I think it's December, they're going to be a much different team. I think they're going to be in a different point in the standings, and they're going to be dangerous. They can score on any line. They look dangerous. That whole second period was basically in the Flyers zone. They could not break out, and Edmonton just kept cycling on them, and it was very sad and scary to watch as a Flyers fan, but as a fan of the game of hockey, it was amazing. They're so fast. They're so smart. They're so good with the puck. That's a team that's going to be dangerous coming down the road. The Rangers still not doing good. Have not turned it around. Again, we talked about it last week. I'm going to continue to harp on it. I don't think they have enough depth down the middle. I don't think they have a good enough center. Zibanejad's okay. He's not a great center. They traded Derek Stepan to get some cap relief, and I get that. But Zibanejad's not going to be the guy that gets you there night in and night out. Matt Zuccarello's doing well, and their defense is decent. They got rid of Dan Girardi, but at the same time, it's not, something's missing from that Rangers team, and I think we're going to start seeing the downfall of them trading 4 or 5 draft picks in consecutive first-round draft picks in consecutive years, because it seems to be blowing up, and I think that could be the end of Alain Vigneault's era of head coach of the New York Rangers. Boston, they're Boston. They're always competitive, and Brad Marchand is towards the top of the league in points, but nobody else is putting the puck in the net, so that's unfortunate for them. San Jose also haven't really strung it together yet. I really do feel, I've said this on a previous Florida Flyer podcast, but I honestly think losing Patrick Marleau hurt that team more than it helped them. I know that they couldn't afford to have him on the team, but I think it hurt him more than it could have helped him. Carolina, not as good. A lot of people called for Carolina to be one of the most improved teams in the league. They're not doing super. Colorado, they were one of the teams that was up last week. They are down this week, and now they have a minus goal differential, so they're not only losing, they're getting worked. And Washington, 4-4-1. Ovechkin's kind of slowed down, and that whole team is just, if he's not scoring goals, apparently there's no secondary depth. They need TJ Oshie to get some stuff going, Nick Backstrom to get some stuff going, and Evgeny Kuznetsov to score goals instead of just doing assists, even though he'll be one of my players to watch. So we'll start out with Steve Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, maybe one of the best duos, if not the best duo in the NHL. Kucherov can score from damn near anywhere on the ice. He's got a hell of a shot, so much accuracy. He's such a smart player. He's not a burner. He's not going to beat anyone to any, open ice pucks, but the dude can shoot the puck. He knows where to put the puck to score, and it's very impressive. I think it's Jaden Schwartz in St. Louis. He's doing really well. He's a young kid. He's playing with Vladimir Tarasenko, and he's really taking the opportunity. He scored a beauty of a hat trick this season already. So, more props to him. Young kid doing well. Evander Kane in Buffalo. I see Kane and my brain already goes to Patrick. But Evander Kane, is having a comeback season, as long as Jason Pominville and Jack Eichel. All of them have 11 points in Buffalo. Buffalo, unfortunately, not towards the top of the standings in the Eastern Conference, but those three players get clicking, Buffalo's going to be a dangerous team, especially Jason Pominville, who many thought he was done, but apparently not. Pominville's still doing stuff. And like I said before, Evgeny Kuznetsov, 12 assists, so Ovechkin's only at 10 goals now. Kuznetsov's still getting assists. There's still people around him putting the puck in the net, and he's a great facilitator of the puck, just like Nick Backstrom. We just need more guys to finish in Washington. But, guys, that's really all I have for this week of the Florida Flyer. If you have any categories, anything you want me to talk about, players, teams, anything, reach out to me on Facebook. Check me out on Instagram. I don't have a Twitter because I'm an adult. I don't know. YouTube, please subscribe to our page, The Junk Drawer Show. We have other podcasts and stuff, so please check them out. And I'll see you guys next week, hopefully with another round of the Florida Flyer.